So day one of Pilates 10 in 10 is Pilates fundamentals. So we're just going to go through some moves that you'll see quite often in Pilates classes. Move towards the edge of your mat so you've got space behind you. Just make sure that there's nothing behind you that you could roll into. Feet on the floor, knees bent. We're going to come into some rollbacks, half rollbacks. So reach your arms out in front of you. Spine is nice and long. I want you to take a breath in through the nose. As you breathe out, we're going to focus on tucking the tailbone under. So we tuck the tailbone so we get this little C curve into the spine. And then we start to roll back about halfway, or until you feel that your abdominals are really starting to do a bit of work. And then we roll all the way back up to the top, lengthen through the spine. Inhale, prepare, exhale, tuck that tailbone. And then gently roll it back up. So this is a really good abdominal move. It's going to start warming up through the center of the body, getting you ready for some of the other moves to come. Option, if you feel a little bit stronger, is to lengthen the legs. So squeeze your legs and your feet together. This makes it a little bit tougher. We tuck that tailbone, roll back about halfway, and then come all the way back up to seated. So really great for the abdominals, this one. Keep tucking that tailbone under. Otherwise we just hinge from the hip and that's not going to be very comfortable for our lower back. Perfect. I'm going to take two more. So not here for too long. Lovely. When you get up to the top, our last one, we're going to roll all the way back. So I want you to try and use lots of control in your abdominals to bring you down onto the floor. We're going to try not to flop down through the through the upper body, particularly when we get to the sort of upper to mid back. So reach those arms out. As you breathe out, tuck your tailbone under. Nice, slow and controlled on the way down. Keep squeezing those legs and those feet together. Easy on the center of the back. Come and relax all the way down. We're going to bring the feet onto the floor, bending the knees. And we're going to take this into some knee folds. So you see these in Pilates quite a lot. We take our right knee up into tabletop, so into that 90-degree bend position. We place that foot down. Then we move on to the other side and place it down. So we keep these legs moving one at a time. We bring the knee up in line with the hip. So it's not coming all the way in towards the chest, just in line with that hip as we lift and lower. Nice bit of warmth through the front of the hips here. And also we think about stability through the pelvis. So as we lift and lower the leg, we don't want the pelvis really rocking from side to side. We should be able to do this move keeping the hips reasonably still. And we keep control of those legs on the way down and on the way up. Good. And you can pick up a little bit of a rhythm here. Just think about what the hips and the pelvis are doing as you're completing this move. Hopefully not wobbling around too much. It might just be that your hips are a little bit tight. That's why you're moving around. And we're going to take 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come and bring the feet onto the floor. We want them to be roughly hip distance apart, quite close to our bum. Hands are down by the sides. We're going to come into some pelvic tilts. So where you are at the moment, this is your neutral position. And we want to take this into imprint, so into a little pelvic tilt position. So where you are now, just think about gently pressing your lower back down into the floor. That is your pelvis coming into imprint. It tilts backwards, which can help us when we need to get into certain moves. It can be quite a good start position to take pressure away from the lower back. Then we're going to go the other way. So I want you to try and make the gap under your lower back bigger. So we tilt the pelvis away from us, creating a bigger gap under the lower back. And then we're going to press the lower back down again into imprint, and then we tilt the pelvis away. So we're rocking the pelvis backwards and forwards. Can feel like a really nice stretch into your lower back. So if you find that you struggle with lower back pain, and you struggle to find a stretch to really get into your lower back, sometimes it can be difficult to find something that really works. I find this one to be really good. Just getting a proper little stretch into the back. Now the next time you take your pelvis into imprints, when you press your lower back down, we're going to keep going with this move. So as we tilt the pelvis further backwards, we lift the hips up off the floor, coming up onto the shoulder girdle into a hip bridge. And then we start from the top of the spine as we roll all the way back down. Reset hips and pelvis at the bottom. So we press down gently, roll it on up. When you get to the top of your bridge, you should be able to move your head freely from side to side without there being any discomfort. If you do find it uncomfortable, just come down a little bit more onto your shoulder blades and then roll back down. So we're only going to take a few of these. Again, you might feel that stretch into the lower back, maybe across the front of the hips, depending on how tight that area of the body is. And we start to work the backs of the legs here as well. So into those hamstrings, into the calves as we press down through the feet to bring us up into that position. And we take 2 more. Lovely. Really thinking about that nice movement through the spine, moving through each section. Lovely. When you get to the bottom, we're going to bring fingertips to temples. Elbows are nice and wide. We're going to take some ab curls. So we tuck in the chin as we breathe in. As you breathe out, you're going to lift up into a crunch. You're going to breathe in at the top and then breathe out to come all the way back down. So we inhale, tuck chin, exhale, lift, inhale, stay, exhale to bring it back down. So if you need to, if you find that your neck tires quite quickly, you can bring the hands up behind the head for a little bit of support. If you choose to take that option, just make sure you're keeping those elbows wide and that you're using your abdominal muscles to bring yourself up and not any momentum or swinging from the arms. Really think about scooping your abdominals in and up. And you might see this quite a lot in Pilates classes. Just to start to warm up through the abdominals and to get you ready for maybe some more difficult moves. But for today, we're just going to stay with this. If you do want to step it up a little bit, you can come and bring your feet up into tabletop, bring legs and feet together. It's the same thing, but it makes the move a little bit more difficult because we don't have the support of the feet being on the floor anymore. Otherwise, you can keep the feet down. And we're just here for 4, 3, 2, we're going to take 1 more. Lovely. Relax it down at the bottom, release the arms and just bring the knees in towards the chest. Hugging them in. Keep that Pilates breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And then we're going to bring our hands behind our legs so we can roll ourselves up to seated. We're then going to come up and over into 4-point kneeling. So we bring hands underneath the shoulders and knees underneath the hips. So we're in this little box position. We lift through the belly and our spine is nice and long here. I want you to tuck the toes under. We're going to press down through the palms, press down through the toes to lift the hips up towards the ceiling and come into this down dog position. So we get a nice stretch all the way along the back of the body. And then we're going to walk the hands in towards the feet. So we come into this nice little forward fold position. And then really gently, you're just going to roll yourself up to standing. So take your time, lift your belly, roll up through each section of the spine. Just be careful when you get towards your head and your shoulders. We've been on the floor for the whole time, so just to avoid any head rushes or dizziness when you get there. And that is the end of day one. Hope you've enjoyed the first video, first routine. So we had a little bit of a mix of stuff in there, but if you stay with me for the next 9 days, then we will be covering a lot more, and I hope to see you for day 2.